What's up everybody, Cynda here, and welcome back to another episode of Cynda Talks, and today we're talking about Nintendo before YouTube, and I know what a lot of people are going to say. They're going to say, Cynda, what about the GameCube bonus discs that came with a lot of promotional material and trailers? What about game commercials? What about Nintendo Power as a whole? And we're talking about the streaming services today. So back on the Wii, we had this fun channel called the Nintendo Channel that was, for all intents and purposes, Nintendo's YouTube channel. Since at this point, companies didn't really have a million social media channels and a guy riding horseback at midnight to warn you that Splatoon is coming, instead Nintendo had their own channel on the Wii in order to make getting news all simple and convenient. And this was a really smart idea, considering that back in 2007, getting gaming news wasn't exactly easy. The iPhone released only a few months before the Nintendo Channel launched, and since the Wii's target audience was older gamers and younger gamers, those who probably didn't own or know how to use a computer very well or even a web browser, having a convenient one-stop shop for Nintendo news was fantastic. The Nintendo Channel itself was a ton of fun to use, with a list of trailers you could watch, product descriptions for new games releasing onto the DS and Wii. You could even purchase games using the Wii's internet browser. I'm sure this worked about as well as the Wii's internet browser, but I mean, it's still cool. E-commerce site? What is this, an economics test? But that's not all. In 2009, the Nintendo Channel get a spiffy new coat of paint. Ka-chow! Down here, we have ourselves a utility belt of goofy options. New arrivals where you can check out the titles coming to the various consoles, as well as new videos. You can even see a detailed activity log on what you've played. Really neat stuff. But the holy grail of the Nintendo Channel had to be the DS download station, where using some space-age technology, they could actually send games straight to your Nintendo DS using the download play feature. I remember playing the demos for Kirby Mass Attack and Sonic Colors on the DS, and just the fact that the Wii was broadcasting these games straight onto my DSi felt like magic. As for the actual content on the Nintendo Channel, they really pulled out all the stops here. It was just trailers. But they had an ace up their sleeve, a real secret weapon, an advantageous, decisive resource. Come on, thesaurus.com, give me something! Nintendo Week. This was a show that Nintendo produced from September of 2009 until March of 2012. The show was actually pretty neat, hosted by Gary and Allison. They basically talked about the hottest new games that dropped onto either store shelves or the Wii Shop channel. And if I'm being honest, the show really isn't that bad. There's some real Nintendo charm here, even if it does seem fairly advertisement-y most of the time. But that's kind of the point, being a Nintendo-produced show on the Nintendo Channel meant to tell people about the hottest new Nintendo announcements. But the coolest show on Nintendo Channel had to be
Let's do it. Yes, let's play.
As easy as it would be to poke fun at this show, it's actually fairly well produced, and predicted the loud Let's Player genre to a T. And you can actually watch both of these shows on YouTube since they've been archived pretty well, although I am absolutely 100% sure there was a Super Mario Galaxy 2 episode of Ultimate Wii Challenge where they played through Bowser's lava layer that I can't find archived anywhere. I promise this was real. Now, obviously with the 3DS, I think a lot of us were expecting some real banger content to drop on this new video service, and they had a good start with Nintendo Show 3D on the 3DS acting as a spiritual successor to Nintendo Week, albeit with a much more high-tech, epic, super gaming feel to it, and far more focus on the gaming parts rather than the storyline seen in Week. But there were tiny clips at the end of most episodes that were, unironically, some of the best use of the 3DS's 3D.
Whoa! It's almost like hockey's real!
And while we're on the topic of Nintendo Week successors, Nintendo Minute premiered in 2013, hosted by Kit Krysta, until they decided to quit the show in early 2022 because, according to an interview, Nintendo's San Francisco office closing down and the duo reflecting on their history with the company and deciding to move on. For those wanting more Nintendo Minute-style content, Kit and Krysta now run their own YouTube channel completely unaffiliated with Nintendo, where they share stories about their experiences and that sort of thing. Neat! And with Nintendo finally creating their own YouTube channel in 2011, or rather starting to upload on it in 2011, the brand new service for the 3DS, Nintendo Video, was oddly left pretty high and dry during basically its entire run. The fun gimmick this time was that there were only 4 videos available at any given time, and while this is obviously because the 3DS was meant to be a console where bite-sized fun came first, only having 4 videos on your video service was kinda lame. And the videos featured Dinosaur Office. This was it.
no more videos. Sorry. Just kidding. But this is the show a lot of people associate with Nintendo Video, but its inclusion into the service is so strange to me since the show was produced by College Humor. You know, the adult-oriented comedy producers. I don't know, man. Also, I very distinctly remember there being a Linkin Park song on there for a long time. Some more shows I'll just list off for nostalgia/archive purposes. Batman and Spider-Man, no clue what that is. Shaun the Sheep, this animation style always creeped me out. Kirby's Right Back at Ya. This was actually really interesting since it was an all-new episode of the Kirby anime produced in 2009 and remastered in 3D for the service. Bear Shark, no clue. Misadventures of Link, this was everywhere, but I watched like one episode and didn't like it. How to Win at Super Smash Bros., watched on the eShop, a very basic but also fun series. Bravest Warriors, heard very good things about this, never watched it. Cartoon Conspiracies, wait, this was on Nintendo Video? Bee and Puppy Cat, heard good things, watched one episode, it's alright. Too Cool Cartoons, huh? Wild Herd, Ryu, Kyu, something like that, I don't know. WWE Slam City, Oscars Oasis, Meet or Die, Marshmallow People, Charlie the Unicorn. Heard good things, but the animation is so horrifically bad, so Llamas with Hats. Very strange lineup Nintendo Video had. I'm fairly certain the gimmick of all these shows was that some of them could be displayed in 3D, and that's neat, but the overall channel was just weird in a lot of ways. I mean, there's this short by the Blue Man Group, and it's just trippy. But it was a very fun and unique service to say the very least. Just sort of throwing this in here because I completely forgot this show existed before I started recording footage for this episode, the Cat Mario Show. This show had a very confusing run, only lasting 11 episodes in North America throughout late 2014 until early 2016, but the show had a solid run in Japan and Europe, with Europe getting 37 episodes and Japan getting all 75. What? Although, it seems that the Mario Wiki is a somewhat unreliable narrator here, since I was able to find episodes all the way up to 160 in Japanese, and that one talks about Animal Crossing New Horizons, so I assume it's from early 2020. This show is designed to brainwash a very young and impressionable audience into playing video games, and it does that fairly well. Also, the Mario Wiki states that the show reveals that Mario's favorite Disney character is Olaf from Frozen. Since Nintendo's YouTube channel is now up and running fairly comfortably, they didn't really need any more dedicated video streaming platforms of their own. Now, of course, the eShop would become the main place a lot of trailers would end up, but we never really saw anything quite like the Nintendo channel, Nintendo Video, or even the various eShop exclusive shows ever again, since they were replaced by YouTube content, which is still good, just lacking in the charm seen back in the older services.
And that's a shame, since these services have some real charm to them. Nothing beat hopping on the Nintendo channel, listening to those classic tunes, and watching some quality Nintendo-produced shows, which were completely unbeknownst to me, subconsciously affecting my video game-loving creative spirit, and eventually leading me to create content similar to which I enjoyed many years ago. What?